Why do we suffer? Why does peace feel so elusive? Like water slipping through our fingers, the tighter we try to hold it. Many spend their days entangled in the thoughts of others, what they think, how they perceive us, whether we are liked, respected, or admired. Some are trapped in a ceaseless battle, trying to make everyone happy, fearful of disappointing even a single soul. And yet, despite all these efforts, peace remains distant. The reason is simple. We care too much about things that do not matter. In Zen and Buddhist philosophy, attachment is the root of suffering. The more we attach ourselves to the opinions, expectations, and judgments of others, the heavier our minds become. Like a traveler carrying an unnecessary burden. Imagine walking a great distance with a sack filled with stones that do not belong to you. How exhausting would it be? True peace arises when we let go, when we release the need for control, approval, or validation. Caring less is not about becoming indifferent or emotionless. It is about understanding what deserves our attention and what does not. Only by lightening our load can we walk freely. There is an old Zen teaching: the river does not argue with the rock, it simply flows around it. And so we begin our story. The heavy sack, a traveler once set out on a long journey through mountains, valleys, and vast open plains. His heart was filled with many concerns, how others perceived him, whether he respected, whether he was fulfilling expectations. Each time he worried about a new thought, he picked up a stone and placed it in his sack. At first, the weight was bearable. As he walked, he met many people. Some praised him and he smiled, but when he met others who criticized him, he felt the sting of their words and placed more stones in his sack. Some told him he should be different, act differently, speak differently. And so he carried more stones, trying to shape himself into what others wanted. With each passing mile, his load grew heavier, his feet ached, his back bent under the weight, and yet he refused to put the sack down. Why? Because he believed the stones were important. The illusion of importance. The traveler reached the temple exhausted. An old monk watched as he struggled up the steps, his face weary. "What are you carrying?" the monk asked. "Everything I must carry," the traveler replied. "The expectations of my family, the opinions of my peers, the judgments of strangers, the need to be accepted." The monk nodded and handed him a cup of water. "Drink," the traveler took the cup, but before he could drink, the monk began to pour more water into it. Soon the cup overflowed, spilling water onto the ground. "Why did you do that?" the traveler asked. "You are like this cup," the monk said. "You hold too much and still you try to carry more. How can you find peace when you do not let go?" The traveler looked at his sack and felt its crushing weight. For the first time, he questioned whether he needed to carry all those stones at all. The art of letting go that night, under the stars, the traveler removed a stone from his sack. It was the heaviest one, the need for approval. He had spent years trying to be liked by everyone, to be seen in a certain way. And yet, no matter how hard he tried, not everyone was pleased with him. As he placed the stone on the ground, he felt lighter. He removed another. The fear of disappointing others. How many times had he abandoned his own happiness just to meet someone else's expectations? Another stone fell, one by one. He let go of the burdens he had carried for so long. He kept only what was necessary, the values he truly believed in, the love that was genuine, and the peace that came from within. By morning, his sack was almost empty, and for the first time in his life, he felt free. The wisdom of the river as he continued his journey. He met another traveler, one who was still burdened by a heavy sack. The man groaned with each step, struggling under the weight. "Why do you carry so much?" the traveler asked. "Because I must," the man replied. "What if I let go and regret it?" The traveler smiled and pointed to a river flowing beside the path. "Watch the water. Does it hold on to the rocks?" The man shook his head. "The river flows because it does not cling." The traveler said, "It does not stop to argue with obstacles. It moves forward, unbothered by what does not serve it. Be like the river." The man hesitated, then removed a stone from his sack. He smiled as he felt the lightness in his step. The traveler nodded. This is the secret to peace. Care less about what does not matter, and you will move freely through life. And so they walked on, not burdened, not bound, but at peace with each step. The power of caring less, the journey of the traveler, teaches us a fundamental truth. Most of the burdens we carry are self-imposed. We cling to expectations, opinions, and the need for validation, believing them to be necessary. But in reality, these attachments weigh us down, robbing us of inner peace. To truly understand the wisdom of caring less, we must reflect on several key lessons from the story. 1. The illusion of control, one of the greatest sources of suffering, is the illusion that we can control everything. How others perceive us, how situations unfold, and how life treats us. The traveler believed he had to carry every expectation placed upon him, just as many of us feel obligated to meet the demands of society, family, and peers. But what happens when we try to control the uncontrollable? Frustration. Anxiety life flows like a river, no matter how much effort we put into shaping its course. It will eventually take its own path. The wise learn to let go of control and move with the current, rather than resisting it. Caring less does not mean being careless. It means recognizing what is within our power and releasing what is not. Ask yourself how much of your suffering comes from trying to control what you cannot. What would happen if you release the need to control others' opinions of you? 2. The weight of others' opinions. The traveler carried stones representing the judgments of others, much like how we carry the burden of external validation. We fear being disliked, misunderstood, or criticized. We alter our words, our actions, even our dreams, just to fit into an idea of what we think others want us to be. But here is the truth. No matter how hard you try, you will never be able to please everyone. Some will admire you that weekend. Others will dislike you for reasons that have nothing to do with you. When you base your peace on external validation, you give away your power. The moment the traveler placed his heavy stone, the need for approval, on the ground, he felt lighter. And so will you. How often do you change yourself to gain approval? What if you focused on being true to yourself instead of seeking external validation? 3. The fear of disappointing others. The traveler held on to the fear of disappointing those around him. This fear controls many lives. Stay in relationships we have outgrown. Pursue careers that do not fulfill us, and say yes when we truly mean no, all to avoid disappointing others. But at what cost? The cost is your peace. The cost is your authenticity. Caring less means understanding that you cannot be everything to everyone. You are not responsible for managing others' expectations. Just as the river does not change its path to satisfy every rock in its way, you must not bend yourself out of shape to accommodate every expectation. How much of your life is dictated by the fear of letting others down? What would change if you prioritized your own well-being instead? 4. The freedom of letting go. Letting go is an art. It is not about abandoning responsibility, but about choosing what deserves your energy. The traveler's sack was filled with unnecessary burdens. Once he began placing them down, he felt relief. He moved more freely. He enjoyed his journey. In your own life, imagine the weight you would lift by letting go of unnecessary worries. The opinions of strangers, the pressure to meet unrealistic expectations, the past that cannot be changed, the future that has yet to arrive. Letting go does not make you weak, it makes you wise. 5. The power of flowing like a river. The river does not resist obstacles, it flows around them. It does not cling to the rocks it passes. Nor does it stop to argue with them. It simply moves. This is the secret to peace. When someone disrespects you, do not dwell on it, flow past it. When life does not go according to your core plans, do not resist, adapt and move forward. When you feel overwhelmed, remind yourself, you do not have to carry everything. The less you cling to unnecessary worries, the more peace you will find. Where in your life are you resisting instead of flowing? How can you apply the wisdom of the river to your daily experiences? The lightness of being. Imagine waking up each morning without the weight of unnecessary worries. Imagine walking through life without carrying the fear of judgment, the burden of expectations, or the need to control every outcome. This is what it means to care less. Caring less is not indifference. It is wisdom. It is the understanding that your peace is more valuable than external approval. That is the realization and not have to carry every burden placed upon you. It is the choice to live freely, lightly, and without unnecessary suffering. The traveler's journey is our journey. His lesson is our lesson. Will you choose to put down your stones? Thanks for watching. Hope enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Just click the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Also, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. See you in the next video.